Left Behind is the 19th episode of the 29th season of The Simpsons, directed by Lance Kramer, and I really like this episode. I think that's largely because I really like Flanders, and it focuses on Flanders. His store is no more, which is a shame. I hope that they manage to rectify that and bring it back somehow because I rather enjoyed it. But Homer gets him a job at the power plant, and he also gets the chance to teach at Springfield Elementary, but things don't go according to plan for Flanders on either front. But I love what happened with it. But I'll discuss with a spoiler warning in more details in a moment some things that I found to be particularly great. But I really like the fact that Homer was actually willing to help Ned out. And I always love seeing interactions between Homer and Flanders. I just think it's so brilliant, and I think they work really well. And every now and then you see a glimmer of Homer actually caring for Flanders, and that's something that I really like, even if a lot of this was happening because of Marge's insistence. And I think it was a nice episode, and it kind of felt like a turning point. As I said, I do hope they manage to do something with his store, but at the same time, I feel like almost every time we've had an episode focusing on Flanders, it's to take things in a different direction. Obviously, a lot of it with Krabappel, and then what happened with that. And now this, it's very unclear what the next episode about Flanders will focus on. And I like that unpredictability. Rod and Todd were very good in this episode, and I loved the scenes at the school. So I guess I'll discuss with spoilers from now things that I found to be particularly well done, particularly interesting. I think there are two things that I want to mention, and these are definite spoilers. And the first is probably the lesser spoiler of the two, and it's the fact that, well, we get to see Krabappel, a picture of Krabappel on the wall, which I thought was lovely, and then she spoke. And I did have a small panic where I thought, have they got somebody else to voice her very briefly? But thankfully, according to IMDb, it's just archive footage. I'm not sure if it's a quote from another episode that I just can't remember. If it is, please feel free to let me know. Or it could be something from scenes that they ended up not using. But either way, I'm relieved that it was Marcia Wallace and, not somebody else to do that brief voice. And it was so lovely. And then the other scene I loved was Ned's final scene at Springfield, where Bart helps him put the fear of God into everybody else by using tricks, and I rather loved it. I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm not saying that it was a tactic I approve of, but within the realms of the episode, I rather enjoyed it. Something else I also mentioned a couple of episodes ago, actually probably a couple of seasons ago now, is that I hoped we wouldn't have a new teacher for Bart in every season. And I still feel that way. I think it'll get old very quickly. But having Flanders teaching Bart's class was rather lovely. And I don't know what's happening going forward. I assume this is something that will never be mentioned again. But I rather liked it, and it was sweet and well done, and ultimately a really good episode. Definitely, it's one I'd be happy to watch again. I'd say Left Behind is pretty decent.